they break? The first three didn't. They didn't break because they had all 10. Meaning within Keter, you had Keter to Malchut. You had all 10. Because it has all 10, it can't break. Anything that has 10 is solid. That's why we pray with 10 men. However, Malchut was not created with any of the other ones initially, except for Keter.
Oh, you're saying that the beginning is the end.
So when Malchut came into existence, which is really Emunah, right? Which is really our soul in exile. Malchut is the Shekhinah. She comes into the world only with the highest level of God. Now, why did Hashem not do any of the ones in between? Because this is the work that Hashem created for us to do. That we should be able to build our soul, which is Malchut, and to attach all of the higher levels of godliness. But we always need one which is constantly watching over us, hovering over us, bringing us to that reality, and this is Keter. So in simple terms, what does this mean? Malchut is your soul, and Keter is your will.
So you are your will.
So I remember when I was a kid growing up, I told you guys many times that I was an atheist. I used to be very into atheism. I read books on atheism. I used to watch debates by atheists. I was very into all of these things. So people always ask me, how did you end up finding Judaism? And I tell them all the same thing. I always was searching. That even though I didn't believe in God, I was hoping, always hoping, yearning for some meaning in my life. And where was that yearning coming from? What was that in me that was constantly compelling me to look for God? And the answer is that just like Malchut came into the world broken, but only with a will, so too I was in exile, like Malchut, only with a will, to find God. And this is every Jew. That no matter where we are, every single Jew always has the lowest, which is his soul, even though it's in exile and he can't feel it, he can't experience it, and he has his will. And that's why will is the most important thing. In life, the main thing is Ratzon. And if you don't give up on your will, no matter what the struggles or difficulties along the way, you will succeed. And the reason is because Ratzon is the highest revelation of godliness, and nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop the will. Therefore, you should know that all of these 9 sayings get their power from the first saying, which is hidden. This is Bereshit, which is a sealed utterance. Therefore, the kavod which comes from there is sealed and hidden in the utmost concealment. Therefore, when a person falls into these places, these black places, these dark places in their life, has v'shalom, falling into doubts and confusion and sadness, but if he then begins examining himself and he sees that he is very far from Hashem, as a consequence of seeing that I'm far from Hashem right now, and you say, Hashem, where are you? That's the beginning of you coming back. And he said this, and he repeats, this is the essence of tikkun and ascent in your life. The essence of coming back to Hashem is to constantly say, Eya, where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Is that why the first Torah of Nachman says to look for the Chacham and everything?
That's also part of it, yes. So we want to be asking Hashem, where are you? What's the understanding of this? Why is that such a powerful concept? Because you're admitting that you're far to some extent, which brings humility into your life, and therefore you can connect to Hashem. But also when you say, where are you? You're emptying your cup.
Right, you're acknowledging.
Right. Every single time you say, Eya, where are you? You're emptying your cup. So in your hibodedut, which we're trying to stress that you should be trying to do every day, the main thing you should be trying to ask Hashem is, where are you? And this is the beginning of you leaving. Because in every episode in your life, Hashem must be there. There's no such thing as Hashem's not there. And the darker it is, then there's a higher revelation of God there. And that's why Rav Nachman had the big chidush, that where is the hidden Torah of God? He says it's hidden in the Baal Tshuva and the Gerim. In the converts and the secular Jews who are very far from God, they're the ones who are hitting on to the highest, most hidden Torah of Hashem. Why? Because that's the only thing that sustains these dark, dark places. So therefore, once they come out, they have that hidden Torah. Where do we see this? With David HaMelech, King David, Mashiach. It says in the Midrash, a very famous Midrash, something very beautiful, which is very simple, and you're like, why is this word teaching me that? It says, where did Hashem find David? He found him in Stone. What was Stone? It was the Las Vegas of 2,000 years ago, but it was much more intense than Vegas, because it wasn't just in the clubs. It was all over the place, and they were into all types of things you can't even imagine. It was like the most concentrated area of depravity, lack of love and kindness towards others. It was mamish the worst place in the world. And he says, that's where I found David. And what's the chap? What are we supposed to connect that he found David there? Meaning that because David is the soul of Mashiach, which is the highest revelation of godliness, the only way he can come into this world is if he falls to the lowest place. Because that's where the highest thing is. So he found him in Stone. And then from Stone, Lot was with his daughter, and that led to a whole other type of bizarre relationships, which led to the soul of David. I told you guys once that the Zohar says something very interesting. Before your soul comes into this world, Satan sees your soul, and he gauges the level of your soul. And the higher your soul, the more concerned he is about letting you come into this world. However, Hashem has a rule that he will not give birth to that soul in this world unless Satan signs off on it. So why would a Satan give permission for the soul of Mashiach to be born? Why would Satan give permission for your soul to be born? And the reason is because he must think that the challenges in your life are going to be too severe for you to ever overcome, and therefore it's okay for you to come down into the world.
Doesn't he know that?
No. So therefore, how does he let Mashiach into the world? The final Redeemer, the one who brings peace and love and truth to the world. How can he let that soul into the world? And the answer is, he sees the amount of suffering that he's going to have in his life, and he thinks that there's no chance, even with his greatness of his soul, that he's going to be able to make it out. So the greater is your soul, the darker is the place that Hashem throws you down into, because it's in that place that you're able to reveal light. And that should be a big inspiration to all of us, that we should know that the suffering in our life and the darkness is really coming from Hashem's love. And because Hashem knows that we're able to come through this, and because we're able to come through this, then reveal God in that darkness. So that's the greatest revelation of godliness. And this is something that you can only get through simplicity. And how do you start? By saying, Eya, where are you? By saying, Eya, where are you? You're able to connect to this aspect of God in this place. And by doing this, you reconnect to Hashem. And we see this very clearly in the Ola offering. There's different korbanot, right? Sacrifices we make to Hashem. One of them is called Ola. We do this for our thoughts. There's a korban, a sacrifice we make when we have inappropriate thoughts, which is called Ola, which comes from the root Aliyah, to ascend. Now, when do you make the Ola? You make the Ola for these thoughts in your mind. Now, it says something very interesting. When Yitzchak said to Abraham, he said, where is the lamb that we're going to use to sacrifice here? So what was the lashon that he used? He said, Ayeh, where is Hasel Ula? Where is this lamb? Ayeh. He had the same question, where is? And Rav Nachman says, what is this teaching you? He's saying, where is God in this? A very profound thing. Yitzchak saying to his dad, who knows he's about to get slaughtered, where is God? Where is the lamb? Eya. And the Midrash says that one of the few things that Hashem created on the 6th day of twilight, before the actual physical world came into creation, was the ram that they used to sacrifice. And that ram is actually in the first word of the Torah. Why? Because it's Bereshit, and that word Bereshit, you can change the letters around, and what is it? It's Bara Taish. Taish is actually a male goat. It's a ram. So what was the first thing that Hashem created? It's this ram. And the whole first cosmic experience that we're supposed to be connecting to at every moment is Eya. Where is Hashem now? And Avraham said to him, Hashem is going to help us find the ram. And if not, then we know it's Yitzchak. But either way, the whole way that Yitzchak was able to have this great self-sacrifice was by asking, where is God? Where is this ram? And this is the same thing that we need to do at all times. And he says that this is tshuva. What do you think tshuva is? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It's an aspect of tshuva. But what's the real essence of tshuva, to return to Hashem? You first have to ask Hashem, where are you? The Baal Shem Tov says your whole life is hide and go seek. You and Hashem. Hashem is hiding from you and you're seeking Him. Hashem is hiding from you and you're seeking Him. How do you find Hashem? You have to ask Hashem, where are you? Eya. Breslovers are makbid in this Torah. They learn this Torah all the time. Eya. Where is the place of your glory? The angels say this. And we say this every single day. Every Shabbat. Where are you? Where are you? And then what do we say? Hashem is everywhere. But the only way to find out that Hashem is everywhere is by first asking, where are you? And this asking of where are you is the essence of tshuva. To return to your source by first asking Hashem, where are you? Because you're always confronted with the situation which is going to be beyond your understanding. Now what do? We're sophisticated, so we resist this. We try and figure out ways to maneuver around this problem. We don't ask Hashem, where are you now? My wife is depressed. Where are you now? My kid's not listening to me. Where are you now? I'm very, very sick and I'm trying to do everything you want from me. Where are you? And what do we do instead? We're angry and we're sad and we're bitter and we get angry with all the people around us. But we don't ask Hashem, where are you now? And that's what He's waiting for us to ask. Where are you? I remember I was told you guys that I was in a psych ward when I had a very, very serious depression, and I felt like I had no hope. And I was sitting in that psych ward and surrounded by people who were really, really in a dark place. And I remember sitting and just saying to Hashem, where are you? Where are you? I'm doing everything I can for you. Where are you? And I realized through that conversation, through that honest conversation, that my emunah was not real. That I didn't have real emunah. I didn't really believe in Hashem. I believed in my concept of Hashem, whatever I wanted Hashem to be. But if my Hashem, if my God is only when I understand, that's not emunah. That's not faith. And I said to myself, that's it. Rav Nachman teaches the only way to find God is to completely nullify yourself and to accept and to connect to the reality that's being present to you and ask Hashem where you are and allow Hashem to reveal Himself to you. And I started to do that, and that was the biggest change in my life. When I went from being very, very sophisticated to being very simple, and it all came from being in the darkest place. And that's where we see that the descent is for the sake of an aliyah. I could have never asked Hashem, where are you, from such a deep place if I didn't go down to such a dark place. So this is us in our life. And the only way we're able to find Hashem in these matters is by saying, where are you? And Rav Nachman finishes, and then we'll ask questions, by saying that the whole concept of the tree of Da'at, of good and evil, and the whole concept of the tree of life is these two phases. That when you say, Hashem, where are you? Because there's confusion, that is the tree of good and evil.
Yeah,
because
like Hashem told Adam, where are you?
Right, now he's not sure. However, once you find out because you asked and you nullified yourself and you're like the beautiful maiden with your eyes closed, like when you say Shema, so then Hashem reveals Himself to you, and that's the tree of life. And this is us in our life. And this is really the essence of the beginning of humanity. That Hashem said to man, don't go into your own doubts. Don't eat from that tree. Don't wonder about what's happening. Don't try and figure it out. You're not going to understand. Eat from the tree of life. And then when you eat from the tree of life, I can also show you the tree of good and evil. And this is really what we should be taking from our life. That the greatest darknesses in our life is for the sake of an aliyah, to bring you to the highest places. And the darker that your life has been, it means the greater is your soul. And the higher of a connection you can ultimately find with Hashem. Rav Nachman says that wherever you struggle in your life spiritually, you have the greatest strength in that area. That means that a person who does not believe naturally, he can have the greatest emunah. A person who has trouble having peace in his life, he's constantly angry, he can have the greatest peace in life. Because Hashem makes it so that the person who has the greatest koach in a certain place, He puts him in a situation that only he can get out of it. So I hope this is an aliyah of the neshama for my wife's grandfather, who I feel like represented a lot of these qualities that we're speaking about now, and my wife's family in general. I'm sure my new family member can attest to some of the beautiful simplicity that comes with the Yemenite tribe of Jews. And if you guys have any questions about how to practically bring this into your life, now for the last 10 minutes, we can do so.
Stop it.
No, we're going to keep for the questions.
So the simple, see if I understand correctly. So in order for me to do bitul, nullify myself,
Right.
I just have to empty my mind and
Right.
say, okay, like the sun, ani lo bevi.
Right.
Okay. So that one. And the second one, which I didn't understand correctly, maybe you can explain more, is I'm having trouble understanding why Satan has to,
Okay.
why HaShem has to.
He doesn't
get
have to do.
okay
He doesn't
from
have to do
Satan.
anything. He creates certain stipulations with certain things prior to creation. Like for instance, he had a stipulation with the sea that it would split when the Jews finally came and they deserved it to leave Egypt. So these things we can't understand. Why is it that Hashem does this? It doesn't have to be. Hashem doesn't have to do anything. We just learn that this is a reality. That Hashem, so to speak, made it. Why it is, we don't know.
The question is about, Satan saying, okay, I agree that this neshama has to come
Right.
down, and he's agreed neshama, that one.
But I
He has to
understand.
get permission for that.
He doesn't have to. Again, he set it up that he does. One of the reasons we learn is that why does Hashem even talk to the Malachim and talk to them about creation? Because the Torah says that look how great of a leader Hashem is, that he takes the people who are below him and he consults them even though he doesn't need to. Meaning the only time that we learn things in the Torah is only for us. So therefore, why are we learning about the fact that Hashem is consulting with Satan or he's consulting with the angels? It's to teach us we should also be consulting with the people who are below us and making them feel like they're a part, even though they don't. And also, one of the deeper reasons, I think, is because the Gemara says something amazing. That when you come to the end of your life, Hashem is going to show you your whole life. Right? A lot of people have heard something like this. But the Gemara says something amazing. He says that the person who doesn't work on himself his whole life at all, he doesn't try to come close to Hashem, he doesn't find out the root of his soul, he's not trying. He says that person at the end of his life is going to see his whole life and see that all he had to do was take one step. His whole life, all he ever had to do was take one step. That was it. And he would have succeeded in a big, big, big way. And he didn't. And what's the person who tried his whole life to connect to Hashem and struggled and toiled to do this? He's going to see at the end of his life that his Jade Sahara was 10 billion times bigger than he can imagine. And it was a gigantic mountain that he had to climb. And he thought he was climbing hills. And he didn't realize, mamish, that his soul was so great that Hashem gave him this gigantic mountain to climb. And this goes back to what we said before. That maybe part of the reason why Satan okays the person coming into this place is to show you at the end, Satan said yes and still you made it. And that feeling that you get to keep with you for forever. That you overcame that, you persevered. Any other questions?
Practically, you said, how do you nullify yourself, let's say,
Right.
on a daily basis?
Okay. So the main way we learn to nullify yourself is through Hibodedut. Rav Nachman says that the only way a Jew can really come to this state of self-nullification in a healthy way,
So it's impossible if not for this.
yeah, it's impossible not for this, is that he needs to take time out of his day, away from his family, his friends, from his work, all technology off, and to simply speak to Hashem. Now, part of that Hibodedut, based on this lesson, has to always be, Eya, where are you? Where are you? This is what's going on in my life. I'm struggling here, I'm struggling with this. Where are you? Because that saying, where are you, is actually allowing you to find out. Because the where are you is humility. The where are you is nullification of self. The where are you is saying, I don't understand and I'm looking for you. All of these things give Hashem now an opportunity and a window to come back into your life at a higher level. Yeah.
I was just going to make a comment about the rational mind and the intellectualization that takes you away from Hashem.
Right.
And you're talking about atheists. And with that state of mind, what is there to celebrate?
Right.
What does an atheist celebrate? They don't have chagim, they don't have holidays. Where can the gratitude come from when you're consumed by this?
They're not usually grateful. They're usually very arrogant people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm saying.
right.
It's kind of a joke. It's
Right.
kind of
Yeah. No, I hear you. So part of the reason is because they're starting with I should and I do understand. and I should understand.
So
And-
this simplicity comes the gratitude.
Right. The gratitude comes from split. And I've said to the students many times in this class, what is a barometer for spiritual growth? And I really believe in my heart, based on my life experience past few years, the more that I've grown spiritually, the more grateful I am. So how do I grasp? Am I growing? Am I becoming more grateful? Am I able to say thank you more sincerely for the things in my life? And more and more and more, everything becomes like, wow. Like, for instance, just tell you guys, I was in the bathroom today in Starbucks, and I take around with me wet wipes in case I have to go to the bathroom, for not the one, but the two. And I had just enough wipes left for a clean, successful bathroom experience. And what would we normally think?
We're not eating.
We think to ourselves, this is just by coincidence and happenstance. It's not something I have to focus on. And I was thanking Hashem profusely in my Ebodah later that day that I had those three. And why?
You had three?
Yeah, I had three. And what? Thank you, Hashem, that I had clean clothes today. I thank Hashem that I had a hot shower today, that I was able to go to a mikveh that's right next to my house. I thank Hashem that I have the most amazing wife and that I have beautiful kids. Everything I could possibly think of, I'm thanking Hashem. More and more and more. And it's not rote for me. It's not robotic for me. Because the more that you realize that you don't deserve anything, that's the beginning of life. I told you guys all this all the time. It's not going to take away your life when you realize you don't deserve anything. Because the truth is, by realizing that you don't deserve anything, you realize that everything is a gift. The whole concept of a Jewish relationship, which is completely different than a secular relationship. What's a secular relationship? You come together, and the question is, what do you do for me?
Favors. It's favors.
And the other way is, what do you do for me? And that's how I decide, do I want to be in a relationship with this person? Is this person fulfilling my needs? And the other person is subconsciously thinking to himself, is this person fulfilling my needs? What's the issue with this? Nobody's ever going to know your needs like you know your needs. Both ways.
So you'll never be satisfied.
So you'll never be satisfied. You're always going to be bitter. Because you're looking to receive. The Torah is teaching you that your whole mode of reality within your relationship should be, what can I give? What can I give? What can I give? And why is that? Because you don't deserve anything. Rav Natan, I remember somebody came to him and was talking about, I want to get a divorce, and this one and my wife's a witch, and Rav Natan said to him, what do you think your marriage should be? My wife should support me, and she should be there for me, and she should this and that. Said, when you come home, you have clean clothes to wear? Yeah. Does your wife ever cook you food? Yeah. Okay. Your wife had kids for you? Yeah. Okay, so you should go home and you should thank God on your knees that you had this opportunity. You don't deserve anything. Go home and say thank you. Mom, she just said, go home and say thank you. You don't deserve anything.
Did they stay married?
Yeah, I think so.
Do what? Uh-huh.
The main thing in our life, what we're trying to really tap into is the fact that everything is a gift. Everything. You don't need to have anything. Even something that we don't take stock in at all. Oxygen. We are constantly breathing in oxygen. It's the most readily available thing that we have, and it's completely free, and you need it. Imagine you were like a fish.
And you never think about it.
And you were in water, and you constantly had to leap out of water and go back into water, and you're suffocating. Imagine just in one moment, like in those scary movies where they go to Mars and they have to put the helmets on, and then for one moment, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the thing comes off his head, and then the oxygen comes out of it. Right? Imagine if at any moment you just stopped having oxygen. We have it everywhere all the time. When's the last time that you thanked Hashem that the one thing that you need the most you have everywhere? We never do. Why is it? Because the place where Hashem is the most hidden. So the only way you're able to tap into where is Hashem right now is by asking Hashem, where are you here? And you have to constantly ask yourself throughout the day, Hashem, where are you? Any other questions? A few minutes left.
What is the point of Hashem putting us in these challenges in our life? I know you're gonna give me the response of maybe because He wants us to put us to a test to see if we're gonna pass. But why? What's the point? Like a Talmud Chacham, like if He puts us to a challenge, what's the point? if God knows he's gonna succeed.
How old are you?
13.
You're an amazing kid, and your parents should be blessed. It's for you.
Why?
So again, it's not for Hashem to figure out, are you capable? He knows you're capable because he put you in the situation. However, what's the one thing that we have in this world that we're not going to have in the next world? And it's the concept of struggle and becoming victorious in our difficulties. Something that we can't understand is that Rav Nachman says at the end, we're not just going to see that everything was for the good. We're going to see that the greatest good was in those greatest darkness. We learn based on the Tanya something beautiful. He says that the 4 letters of Hashem's name, when things are going good in your life and you connect to what's happening and you feel like things are flowing, it comes from the last 2 letters of Hashem's name. But when things are difficult and it's dark and you can't see and you're suffering and you're challenged, it's coming from the first 2 letters of Hashem's name, meaning it's coming from a more godly place. Why can't you recognize that? Because it's beyond your level of understanding. That's why it's dark. It's not because it's actually dark. Like for instance, they did a study and they found out recently that darkness at night might be more bright, so to speak, than the light that we experience during the day. And the whole reason why it's dark for us is because it's so bright our eyes can't perceive it, so it looks black. So it's even lighter.
What study is this?
I don't know. I heard about this before. I think they debunked it, but it's nice for my classes, so I'll use it again. But either way, whatever it is, it's the point is for you in the end. And also, I think what the real essence is, what Hashem said to Abraham, and we can end with this. Abraham's the first Jew, and therefore his relationship with Hashem is really our relationship. This is the whole original relationship between Jew and God. And what does Abraham say when he says, "Where are you?" Eya. He says, "Lechacha, go." And where does he say? He says, "Leave this place, leave this place, leave this place, and go to the place that I'm going to show you." So you would have the same question. Just tell me where you are, right? I want you. You want me. Show me where you are. And the answer is that Hashem wanted to show Abraham the deepest place that I am is when you don't see me. Meaning,
But we never see him.
that's the whole point. The whole point is that the greatest revelation that you can have of God is that He's always with you.
Is it because
So when
you're always
Abraham,
searching
so
for it?
when no, He's always there. But when you're searching, that allows you to access that. When like for instance, Abraham is saying, what's this land of Israel? What's this great place that you destined for us, for our children, forever and ever and ever? And it's called Emunah. For Hashem, the greatest experience of God is to have the same exact experience you had with God if you were to see Him. And you don't see Him, and yet you have that same intimacy, which is Hippodatud. You're speaking to Hashem for an hour every single day. Every day, and you don't see Him. How much more intimate can a relationship be? Can you imagine, like your kids, they grow up and they leave, and they sit down in their room and they talk to like their dad is Benny, and like they're having an hour-long conversation talking to you. Hey, how are you doing? I miss you. What do you want in life? Are you happy with what I'm doing? Can you imagine how much happiness Hashem is getting from us, that we don't see Him at all, and we're going through major difficulties in our life, and we're trying to include Hashem and to reveal Him at every moment. Therefore, the simple answer is that Hashem, that the greater the challenge, and the more that Hashem is hidden, that's the greater experience of God when you find Him. So it's a higher
It
revelation.
means when you come out of that struggle, well, you said the only way to come out of that is through simplicity.
Right.
So if a person theoretically isn't simple, then
So
they
can right until their life situation can bring them to a breaking point where
Is there a point where a person can't come out of it?
No, there's no such thing. Rav Nachman says that even if I was in Gehenna, I would just say, Eya, where are you? And that way I would start to leave.
This reminds me of a story, a Nachman story, where he and his gabbai were praying on Yom Kippur for the Mashiach. And they got to the point where they challenged the heavenly court. Why are you delaying? People are suffering. And they brought themselves to the level of the heavenly court. Lord. And the Satan said, look, they have the audacity to come and to beseech you as if they should know the time for the Mashiach. And he banishes them from the world that we know. Because he understands, correct. And so he banishes Rav Nachman and his Gabbai, and they're in utter darkness. They don't even have a memory. And Rav Nachman says to his Gabbai, he says, you must remember something. Come, let us remember something. And he starts saying, he says, Aleph, Bed, Gimel. And that simplicity and the focusing on the words, and they're able to come back.
Right. Beautiful. They start to come out.
They start to come out of it. Yeah. From just the simple.
The simple.
Yeah.
Aleph.
Right.
Bet. Beautiful. Yeah.
Can I share something real quick?
Sure. And then we'll finish.
Psalms 139, one of my favorites.
Okay.
When I sit down or stand up, you know it. You discern my thoughts from afar. You discern my walking and reclining, and are familiar with all my ways. There is not a word on my tongue. My English is not very good, like I said. But that you, O Lord, know it well. You each me before and behind. You lay your hand upon me, and it says, it is beyond my knowledge. It is a mystery. I cannot fathom it. And it says, look what it says here for you. Where I can escape from your spirit, where I can flee from your presence. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I descend to Sheol, you are there too. If I take wind with the dawn to come to rest on the western horizon, even there your hand will be guiding me. Your right hand will be holding me fast. If I say, this is another answer. It says, if I say, certainly darkness will conceal me, night will provide me with cover. It says, darkness is no dark for you. Night is a light as a day.
Yeah,
Darkness and light are the same, it says. So, I believe this Torah is emet like other Torahs, but I'm saying because
You approve.
put the filter.
This Psalm, which Psalm?
Oh, remember, I have. Yeah, I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want you to get sick.
Okay, guys. Yep. You had a quick question? Go ahead.
139?
139.
What are the steps of people to do?
Is there any steps? Is there anything
Proper way to do
specific?
it.
Yeah, is there,
Yeah,
is there a
so there's
proper
another
way?
room over here. As soon as you leave here, just lock yourself in there alone, and you talk to Hashem. That's it. It's very, very simple.
Whatever's on your heart. you just-
Whatever's in your heart, you just talk to Hashem.
You'll move
That's
for
it.
formula 2022.
Right. It's also we gave a formula
The
to.
good is it. You know, like it's like you're going to a personal trainer. It's like, what's the best way to train? Some trainer tell you, no,
Right, but
do
some
this.
people have a hard time getting started.
No, right.
We
No,
tell,
I'm saying
we tell
right.
people that.
That's why you go to some trainer and you get
Right.
to like a good
they give you
recipe.
a formula that just to get you in the groove, which is the beginning. You start by thanking for whatever you have in your life. Then you move into things that you're struggling with in your life.